Do you need some good news? Well, hey, property taxes, something's going on. What is it? Let's talk about it next. Hey, Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here. And something really exciting just happened here in Idaho, dealing with property taxes that you need to know about, particularly if you're thinking about Idaho might be the place for you. And you know, if it is, please give us a call, text, email. We'd be glad to help you. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Oh, hey, there's Treasure Valley Steven in the background.
Hello.
He's just awaiting your call. He's looking for, I think he got the car gassed up to show you houses this morning. So if you're not on the calendar yet, make sure you get on there. Give us a call, text, email. Anyway, property taxes are a thing right now. This just broke in the news. Property tax relief on the way for Idaho homeowners. Well, what does that mean? Well, this news story here talks a lot about what we need to know. So let's just look at this real quick.
Property tax relief is on the way for Idaho homeowners after the legislature overrode a veto from Governor Brad Little. House Bill 292 will eliminate March election dates for school districts, but will send $100 million to schools to help them pay down bonds and levies. The revamped legislation was shored up with a trailer bill ensuring the distribution of tax funds for highway projects. Senate Republicans say the override was not about taking sides, but about doing what they believe is in Idaho's best interest, as property taxes have been rising at an alarming rate. Property owners should see some relief reflected in December's tax bill.
Well, that's pretty cool, huh? So let's get into that just a little bit. Property tax relief is on the way for Idaho homeowners. This bill will eliminate March elections. Now, this is what caused Governor Little to veto it, because apparently he has a really soft spot in his heart. Bless his heart.
You know, bless his heart, he's consistently one of the men who has the most hot air that I've ever experienced in my life.
For the school system, the education industrial complex. And so he said, we don't want to get rid of the March elections for school bond levies and bonds, but that's why he vetoed it. But the legislature came back and said, no, that's going to go, and we need to give property tax relief to property owners in Idaho, and we should see that reflected in December's tax bill. So some more on this. The Idaho Senate overrides Governor Brad Little's veto. There he is. That's Brad Little, sorry. So here's a little bit of commentary from Senator Chris Trakel, and he's from Caldwell. He's a pretty good guy. You should check him out. He said, our Idaho residents have been clamoring for property tax cuts for a very, very, very long time. He told senators shortly before the override vote, we are extremely close to making that happen for once, for the first time in a long time. So just remember who you are here to work for. Is it the schools? Is it Brad Little? But here's a Democrat, one of the few that we have in our legislature, Senator Melissa Wintrow. She said she was the only person to argue against overriding the veto. She had reservations on that it eliminates the state's March election, where many school districts run elections for school bonds and levies. She said because it is 80% of the bonds and levies that get passed are at that time. So keep that in mind. 80% of the bonds and levies get passed in the March election. The only thing in the March election is the school bonds and levies. There's no other primaries. There's no, national-wide. There's no other mayor, gubernatorial, whatever. It's just for those. And it doesn't get really the prominence that more major elections get. So, if it's just the less people that turn out, it's going to reflect, well, one way or the other. And apparently it reflects in the way that the schools really like, because 80% of their bonds and levies get passed at that point. The March election date will now be eliminated. So with the override, that's going away. So in the past, under current Idaho law, there are 4 specific dates on the calendar where schools can run elections. Here in March, here in May. This May is when we have our primaries. August, and then in November, of course, is the general election. Why do they have this? Well, apparently the people in Idaho are not, it used to be, it's for the children. Well, that doesn't fly anymore. Apparently, just a couple weeks ago, here in March 2023, 5 of the 7 school bonds failed. What had the potential to be a historic election day with more than $1 billion on the line did not break any records because statewide voters rejected more than 70% of the ask, approving only $274 million in school funding, as opposed to the whole enchilada with over $1 billion. Well, what's going on there? It could be that more and more conservatives are coming to Idaho and are saying, we want fiscal conservative values from our government. And they're saying that we're not going to vote for these bonds. And you know what? This is the thing, too. It's like property taxes. The biggest part of those go to schools. So if you vote for school bonds, that increases your property taxes. You just can't vote for school bonds and then complain about property tax going up because you did it. So apparently these conservatives coming up here are saying, hey, there's got to be a better way, maybe some more accountable way. And of course, it is going to be that schools are going to be getting their money from other mechanisms if they're not getting them from the bonds and levies. And those mechanisms might include your representative having more of a say. Maybe that's a good thing. What do you think? Leave your comments below. So going on with the rest of what happened, this is from Senator Nichols. She's a very conservative Republican in the Senate. She had been in the Idaho House, and she said one day ago that today the House and Senate Republicans came together for the win. The Senate overrode the governor's veto on property tax relief. So, and this, you don't see a whole lot of this in the news. It took some work to find this, but she did say that this bill will provide homeowners with a property tax reduction of 13% for the initial year and declining to 10% in subsequent years. She said, so if you're paying $2,500, you would save about $325. Also, the March election date would be eliminated. So what does that mean? So here's Treasure Valley Dave's castle. I don't have the moat built yet, but if you bring your shovel, you can help me. Anyway, so these are the taxes I've been paying for 2020. You can see it was a little over $1,000, and then it popped up to $22.97, and then this last year was $23.68. So this is a pretty average house, 9 years old now. Dang, where does time go? But anyway, so $2,300. Let's look at this next page. This is from our friends over at Wallet Hub. 2023's property taxes by state. This is kind of telling, I thought. So here's all the states, and here it has Idaho at number 14. Number 14 on the list of annual taxes paid on $244,900 worth of home. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So I look at this column over here, and that brings us down to number 17. And that is annual taxes, property taxes based on the median value of homes in Idaho. So looking at some of these, the value of some of these homes, 157 down in Alabama, they're only paying 646. This is kind of interesting how all these states that have, very, very cheap housing are in the deep South, and their taxes aren't all that high. But then, so currently we're at 1682. So if going by what Tammy Nichols had said, that brings us, we take off that 325. So that brings us down into the low 1300s. Math, who thought I'd ever need it? So that brings us down here to like between Indiana and Kentucky. So that brings us down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8, 9, certainly in the top 10 of the cheapest places for property taxes in the whole entire country. Pretty wild. But then let's slide down here. A lot of the people that move to Idaho are from Cal. Have you heard that? California, Oregon, and Washington. Could be WAC, I suppose, too, other way around. But anyway, let's go on down here. We'll keep on going. Oh my gosh, it's way down here. Oregon comes in at $33.52. That's like $2,000 more a year for property taxes. Let's go on down here to Washington State, $37.5. Let's go down here to California, $42.7. California is like $3,000 a year more for property taxes than what Idaho is going to be now that we've passed this relief. Isn't that wild? And like I say, with the relief, we also have, maybe we have more accountability for what schools spend money on. Schools certainly need money and they have a big job to do, but if no one's keeping an eye on the books. But anyway, hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit that little thumbs up button. I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. Maybe share this with somebody that needs to see that for positive. And don't forget to go to our website, www.treasurevalleydave.com. Really looking forward to seeing you there. And gosh, if you're coming up this spring for your fact-finding trip in Idaho, give us a call. We want to get you on the calendar. We want to take you out and have a great time and explore what the Treasure Valley is all about. Well, that's it for this time. It's Treasure Valley Dave. As always, looking forward to helping you get home.